Kasai and Ninsa Zeta became an unbroken force of attack and defense as they struck down the enemy demons and barbarians. He was a whirling dervish, moving like a blur from one killing strike to another. His lightning-fast strikes left his enemies defenseless and ruined. Hundreds of barbarian bones shattered, and the creatures of the abyss were vaporized into ash. A cyclone of Ninsa Zeta's fire whipped around Kasai as he rushed toward the demon warlord. Kasai climbed over the ring of dead knights and soldiers, while the warlord stood preoccupied in the middle. Its white armor was dented and smeared with human blood. Sanguine handprints showed the slain warrior's last attempt to hold the demon back. Kasai approached slowly, while the warlord admired the armored head of General Rokig. The general's headless body lay at the warlord's feet. The demon held Rokig's head high over his own and drank the fluids leaking from the severed neck. Finally, he spotted Kasai from the corner of his eye.
"The great warlord Aziax welcomes you to your death, mortal,"
he said with a mocking bow. He casually pointed his demonic sword at Kasai and uttered a sharp-sounding word. A blast of ice shot from the blade. Kasai spun Ninsa Zeta's end sections into a shield of fire, melting the ice fragments in the flame.
"Clever trick, monk,"
Aziax said. He dropped Rokig's head and leaped at Kasai. Kasai held the middle section of Ninsa Zeta and spun the end segments in a curved figure eight. The staff wiped from one side of his body to the other. Kasai sent one of the staff sections out to attack Aziax, but the demon's sword parry was faster, and Kasai's strike missed its mark. A terrible hiss and groan resounded as the two weapons clashed together repeatedly. Kasai felt Ninsa Zeta's frustration and focused more of his fires into the enchanted weapon. Kasai grabbed the tail of the fire serpent and whipped the rest at Aziax. Kasai snapped the staff back, just as it connected to Aziax's shoulder guard on his sword arm. The armor cracked and sizzled. Aziax ripped the useless armor away, exposing his alabaster arm and shoulder. Aziax bellowed in rage and drove harder into Kasai. The power of the demon was almost overwhelming. Kasai shuffled back in defense, but Aziax slashed his sword forward and struck Kasai on the knuckles of his right hand. Kasai pulled his hand back, but lost his grip on the section he was holding. The demon pivoted sharply and grabbed Ninsa Zeta. Aziax gritted in pain as Ninsa Zeta's flames burned hot in his hand. Aziax held on tight and ripped the fire serpent out of Kasai's hand, tossing it wide to the side and out of reach. Aziax swung his ice sword at Kasai's head and then at his gut. Kasai jumped back in a series of somersaults to avoid the terrible blade.
"Stay still, little butterfly."
Kasai spun back again, but fell into the circle of dead men that made up their mini arena. Kasai stumbled over the pile, but scrambled quickly to his knees. Aziax was there and struck down with a mighty blow. It was too late to dodge the blade. Kasai reacted the only way he could. His arm shot up, and without thinking, he clamped the sword between his hands. Blue light erupted from the cobalt marks on his palms.
"Impossible. No one can stop the might of ice horror,"
Aziax shouted as he threw Kasai off the sword. Kasai tumbled away. He stood up fast and was rewarded by a terrible backhanded blow across his face. Kasai was battered, bruised, cut, and now bloodied. Even with Ninsa Zeta in hand, he had only managed to annoy the demon warlord. He was running out of tricks. Aziax charged forward. Kasai shifted his weight and collapsed at his knees. As Aziax's sword arm passed overhead, Kasai sprung back up. He shaped his hand like a knife and delivered a sharp strike to the nerve clusters in the demon's exposed shoulder. It paralyzed Aziax's arm, and his ice sword dropped to the ground. Kasai breathed a quick sigh of relief. Aziax howled in pain and frustration as he tried to raise his dead arm. Glaring at Kasai, he said,
"You cannot win. Let me show you."